As you can see, there's no overcurrent protection in the AC primary. And you can see it is UL listed without any overcurrent protection in the AC primary. Okay, so what we have is the AC primary comes right in, goes to the switch, and then to the power transformer. So what we're going to do is cut this little cap off here. And we'll just pull our zip cord back a little bit here. And we'll take the sleeve off the power transformer wire here. It'll come off. Yep, it comes off. We'll cut it back some here. And we'll slide it back in if we can. And if we can't, we can't. We won't get upset. And I'm glad we're getting it to go back in. Getting pretty close to coming through. We're close. Very, very close. There we are. We'll just push this back in here. We'll strip our little ends here. Okay, we'll turn our soldering iron on here. Strip the wire. And we'll strip the end of our cord here. That looks a little tarnished there, so I'll come back some. It looks a little bit better there. Get our strands twisted here. We're going to use flux that's rated for electronics and electrical soldering. And we will use electrical solder, which is for electrical and electronics. And we have this to hold our little device here that we're going to be putting in a solder terminal AGC fuse block. So I'll bring the camera down close so you can see it. Okay, so we'll get our wires tinned with our flux here. Put some flux on here. Clean our tip. Put some solder on our iron. And we'll tin our wire. See, we got a nice flow through here of solder. We're going to get a little bit more up here. There we go. That's what the flux does, helps make it flow nicely. Then we'll tin our red wire. We'll twist our strands together. Put our flux on. Clean our tip. Tin our iron. And we'll get some solder on the wire like that. So this is our fuse block here. We're going to put some flux onto our terminal here on the top and on the bottom here. Again, we'll dip our solder wire into our flux again, and we'll hold it with our clip here. Bring our wire up through the hole here. We'll clean our tip, turn our iron. Get a nice clean solder joint there. Okay, we got a nice flow through on the bottom there. I'll turn my camera light on too, if it lets me. There it is. So you can see a nice flow through here and a nice clean solder joint here on the top. Now we'll come around over here and we'll get this cord wire in here. Let's see if we can get it in here. That one's going to be kind of tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it like this. Okay, so we're going to get a little more solder into our flux into our wire here. Put it in through our hole. Hold it up. Clean our tip. Put some solder on our iron. And we get a real nice clean solder joint there. Okay, it didn't quite fill the hole. The solder didn't quite fill the whole joint, so I'm going to take a little more flux, get some back in here, get some underneath here so we get some good flow. Clean my tip, turn the iron a little bit more, and I'll heat right along the whole thing here. There we go. Now we have a really nice clean solder joint all the way across there, so I'm just going to let that cool. We'll close our flux up. We'll tin our iron now that we're done with it. And we'll turn it off. Take our bottom off here so we'll fasten our fuse block down. Okay, so we'll put our 632 screw through our fuse block here. washer in here like this. Put our nut in here. Make sure our block is nice and straight here. Nice and straight. Make sure it's nice and snug. Nice and snug. It's nice and straight. I'll just take our cutters here. Cut our bolt off. There, we got it. Wire back into this tie down into here. This one down into here. We'll make this one back down into here. So there's a close-up of the soldering all done. Okay, you can see the size of the filament in the 20 amp house fuse and the size of the filament in your 15 amp house fuse. And see how tiny the filament is inside of this little fuse we put inside the stereo components. This is very thin. It will blow if it goes over 1 amp. And the cord is only rated for like 7 amps. So we'll stick our fuse in here. Turn our light on so you can see better. I'll just snap it in here. So, if like this power capacitor goes bad, or the voltage regulator goes bad, or the rectifier diodes over here in the power supply go bad, and oh, there's the rectifier diodes right there, and these are the power capacitors, and that's a voltage regulator. If any of those components short, it can make this transformer windings short out, and it can keep burning and heating up, and if there's nothing else on the circuit, I'll be relying on the 15 or 20 amp house fuse, and while it's taking time for that 20 amp house fuse to blow, this cord will have a 20 amp load on it, and it can heat up and short out and start a fire. So that is how to do drop soldering and put the fuse block inside of a high-end stereo component. finish it off, I'm going to turn it over. Let's make sure our block is in here tight. I'll take some Loctite and put it around this nut and bolt head just to keep it from loosening up. There we go. So let's make sure everything is all good here. Now we'll stick our bottom plate back on here. I'll make sure all my screws are the same length. If I don't find that screw, there it is. If I didn't find that screw I lost, I would just went and bought another one. You don't get upset. No frustrated. It's not going to help anything, but I'm glad I found it. So let's go around and tighten them all up. 1, 2, 3. That one wants to be hard, so you just do it hard. That's